On February 9th, 2024, we rest under a new moon in Aquarius. This new moon is the energy of really liberating yourself in a way where you are really gifting yourself the permission to express yourself freely. This new moon is the energy of processing, reflecting, integrating all that you have been moving through, all that you have been releasing and accepting. There's a lot of acceptance and authenticity ruminating in the air of this new moon. It's a really beautiful new moon to journal under. And I don't know about you all, but I have been seeing lots of content from astrologers and intuitive readers who have been expressing that this new moon has a really strong potential to be very, very life-changing. So I'm very much looking forward to this new moon, and I'm very much looking forward to sharing these 8 journaling prompts with you directly inspired by the energetic themes surrounding this Aquarius new moon. So you'll definitely get to not only receive some prompts for you to really fully align with this new moon, but also some greater clarity and deeper understanding as to what the energy of this new moon is. So without further ado, let's get into these 8 journaling prompts. In addition to the energy of acceptance, what other energies have I been embracing and embodying? I feel very confident that acceptance, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, is one of the biggest energies blessing the collective at this time. A really beautiful energy of acceptance, of surrender, of choosing peace with the present moment and with what is. But I know that each and every single one of us have also been beginning to really embrace and embody certain energies that perhaps we've been avoiding, that perhaps we've been resisting, that perhaps we feel is kind of new for us, at least for this current version of ourselves that we are getting to know at this time. So what are the other energies, in addition to acceptance, that you've found yourself beginning to embody, beginning to embrace? And if you feel inspired to expand a little further, how has embracing and embodying these energies made you feel? How has it changed you? What fears have I consciously been facing? Know that you are not alone at this time and in the past few months, perhaps even the past few years, but I feel like specifically it's been in the past year or so where many, if not all of us, have really had fears rise to our consciousness, right? And have had to face certain fears that perhaps we've been running away from, fears that we've been turning a blind eye to, that we just no longer could look away from. We no longer could brush under the rug. And we've been facing these fears. And these fears have really, again, come to the forefront of our consciousness. There's no looking away now from these fears. And it really, as hard as it may be, as scary as it may be, as much mystery and uncertainty and change as facing these fears may bring forth, it truly is a blessing, because turning a blind eye from our fears really is us giving our power away to our fears, really is us placing limitations on ourselves. It really does us a disservice. So be proud of yourself for all the fears that you have found yourself now facing consciously. And I really want us to take a moment to hold space for that, because this is a very important, significant, pivotal thing for us to acknowledge, the fact that we are consciously facing certain fears. So let's journal, right? Let's write them down. What are the fears that you've been consciously facing? And again, if you feel inspired to expand a little further, what have these fears been teaching you? What lessons have these fears come with? And how has facing them changed you, changed your life? How has my relationship with the truth changed and evolved? I really love this prompt because it is such a strong energy right now for the collective and for us as individuals. Collectively, many of us are aware of the truths that we have been facing, that we've been witnessing, that we have been confronted with, right? And these truths that we've been confronted with as a collective has been changing us as a collective. And similarly, us as individuals, we have been confronted with certain truths that have been changing us and changing our lives, and have been changing and evolving and shifting our relationship with the truth. Many of us, again, this energy of acceptance, have been growing more accepting of the truth, right? So how has your relationship with the truth changed and evolved? And I truly believe that for all of us, it has been changing and evolving for the better. I think perhaps in the beginning, we may feel like it may be changing for the worse because there are certain truths that are just so uncomfortable, and we feel like we wish that we weren't confronted with certain truths at this time. But that also is very much a reflection of us running away from certain fears, right? Like, why? There's a lot for us to learn from asking ourselves why there are certain truths that bring forth certain discomforts, why there are certain truths that are harder for us to accept. That's a whole other conversation. But all of that said, I know that being confronted with the truth, witnessing the truth, being in relationship with the truth in a different way has been such a big theme, again, for us as a collective and for us as individuals. So how has your relationship with change, how has your relationship with the truth changed and evolved? Which aspects of my future self am I currently meeting? Many of us are in this transitional phase between not really being who we've been, not really being who we were, but also not fully being who we're becoming, right? We're still very much in that becoming phase, in this like somewhat liminal space, right? This in between. And though we are in this in between and we're not fully who we're becoming, which is something for us to contemplate, right? Like, do we ever actually fully arrive to a particular destination or version of us? Or are we always kind of evolving and becoming, and really always in this state of transition, which is something that I've been reflecting on a lot. because I feel like many of us are kind of obsessed with and very focused on like finally meeting this certain version of us, right? That we are gonna arrive to and just kind of like rest at. But I truly believe that in truth, we're always in a state of transition. We're always in a state of becoming. But again, that is another conversation. What I want us to focus on here is the truth that there are aspects, characteristics, habits, even feelings, experiences, reflections of our future self, of the version of ourselves that we are becoming, of our higher self that we've already been meeting, that we've already become, that we've already sensed and witnessed ourselves becoming. So what aspects of your future self have you found yourself meeting already? What does this future self look like? What does this future self feel like? What does this future self sound like? Any and every detail and specificity that comes forth to you that you can and feel able to write down, like, yes, this is an aspect of my future self that I've been meeting and that perhaps you really love. Write it all down. Which aspects of my past self am I currently releasing? So in the last prompt, we journaled about the aspects of our future self that we've been meeting. Now let's journal about the aspects of our past self, our past selves that we've been releasing. It's a very interesting experience to simultaneously feel yourself and see yourself meeting new aspects of you, right? While also at the same time releasing aspects of yourself that you've known, right? It's like you're stepping into the unknown, but you're also stepping into new known. So there's just a lot of rebirth and death taking place. And it can be just such a roller coaster mix of emotions, like this enthusiasm and excitement and gratefulness, while also this grief and sadness and fear, right? That comes with the letting go. So it's equally as important to acknowledge both of them, right? To really honor the becoming and honor the releasing. So what aspects of your past self have you currently been releasing? And if you feel, again, so inspired to expand even more, why? Why have you been releasing these aspects of your past self? Where in my life am I feeling ready and eager to set myself free? We have been growing consciously aware of the ways in which we've been limiting ourselves, the ways in which we've been holding ourselves back, the ways in which certain people, places, and things that we've been investing our time and energy into has been not serving our highest good. And with this expanding conscious awareness, we've been growing eager and ready to set ourselves free. It's like, okay, I'm really realizing that I've been limited in XYZ ways because of this, and that. And I'm just so ready and eager to set myself free, to liberate myself from these limitations, mental, physical, spiritual, personal, professional, internal, external, all the things. And I feel like us facing certain fears has also really in large part played a role in this deepening desire to liberate ourselves. So all of that said, where in your life do you feel ready? Do you feel eager to set yourself free? And because this is a new moon, feel free to journal this prompt in a way in which you are writing down affirmations, right? Like, I am liberating myself from, I am free from, I feel free to be, right? Like, play around with certain affirmations that you can create for yourself so that this kind of serves as like an intention setting prompt under this Aquarius new moon of the ways in which you are becoming more and more liberated, and the ways in which you are actively participating in that liberation. Which desires have consistently been rising to the surface of my mind and I continue to reflect on? There are desires that have consistently been rising to the surface of your mind. And perhaps they rise to the surface and then they fade away. And then you notice that they rise to the surface again and they fade away. And consistently they keep rising to the surface of your mind. And every time they rise to the surface, you contemplate them, you reflect on them, you think about the possibility of these desires manifesting, of these desires coming to life in your life, and what would happen if they did, and what would be different if they did. And you keep reflecting on them and they keep rising to the surface of your mind. What are these desires that you've noticed just keep coming to the surface of your mind, and you keep reflecting on them? Have you taken action on these desires? Have you simply just kept reflecting on them and that's it? And why? Why have you taken action, or why have you not taken action on them yet? Why do these desires keep rising to the surface of your mind, and why do you keep feeling called to reflect on them? What is your heart trying to communicate with you? Have you been listening? This prompt is an important prompt, especially for those of you who really resonate with this. And take a moment to really sit with this to see if it does resonate with you, right? For some of us, it's like, yes, I can immediately think of a desire that I just keep thinking about. And for some of you, you may need to take a moment to sit with this and reflect on the past few days, on the past few weeks, the past few months maybe. Has there been a desire that just keeps coming up, that keeps talking to me? Write those desires down and let this be the time where you fully, finally acknowledge them. In what ways do I find myself being more selective? I had this thought cross my mind this morning when I was looking out the window, and the thought was, it's okay to be selective. It's okay to be selective with your time. It's okay to be selective with your energy. It's okay to be selective with who you do and don't develop a deep relationship with. It's okay to be selective, right? In the most simple, seemingly minor ways, and in the most grand, deep ways. It's okay to be selective, especially if you are growing consciously aware of your needs and desires, especially if you have really been evolving your relationship with the truth in a way that is very healing, in a way that is very reflective of your higher self. it's okay to be selective. And I want us to take a moment to write down and journal the ways in which we have found ourselves being more selective, because I think there's a lot to learn from that. Notice how when you write down and take a moment to reflect on the ways in which you found yourself being more and more selective, and the ways in which you are selective. Perhaps you've been becoming selective in new ways that you haven't been before. You'll learn that there are certain boundaries that you're creating for yourself now, certain ways that you freed up more time for yourself, certain a certain perhaps confidence and love and appreciation for self that you have now in allowing yourself to be selective in these ways. Just there are some gems hiding in the awareness and acknowledgement of the ways in which we have become more selective. So allow yourself to arrive to these gems, to learn from your selectiveness, and journal the ways in which you have found yourself being more selective, and affirm to yourself that it's totally okay to be more selective. It's totally okay to have certain standards to really stand by, and remind yourself that this selectiveness truly is an expression of self-love and care. And that, my friends, are the 8 journaling prompts for our new moon in Aquarius. I pray that you are walking away from this journaling video and your journaling session feeling a lot more confident, clear-minded, clear-hearted, and comfortable with the present moment. I truly am so honored and so grateful that you have brought me and this conversation into your precious present moment. I would love to know which of these prompts really resonated with you, really moved you in a certain way, really brought forth certain realizations for you. Let your girl know in the comment section. I love creating and cultivating community in the comments. So I'll connect with some of you in the comments, and I'll see all of you in my next video. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of your girls' weekly videos, and you join in on this beautiful growing community. Blessed Aquarius new moon, my friends. Bye.